up, Zachary High? I'm Jemima Montgomery.
And I'm Safari Beer.
And you're watching
WZHS.
Our sports programs have been dominated lately.
Let's look at some highlights.
My name is Jemima Montgomery, and you're watching WZHS Sports Highlight. Unfortunately, our Zachary baseball team falls and is now 12-8. These boys have been working so hard and keep up the great work. We know you can do it. Congratulations to the Zachary High varsity cheer team 2022 to 2023. We're looking forward to the season. Great job, ladies. Congratulations. Congratulations to all members of the boys and girls track teams on their success at the Bronco Relays last Friday. We want to thank all the students and teachers who volunteered as a host of successful track meet. Next home meet is this week. Boys tennis won their match against Dunham yesterday. Girls played hard but was swept by Dunham girls. Today we will take a central private at the YMCA Americana. That's it for Sports Highlight. I'm Jemima Montgomery.
Hey Zachary High, this is Ms. McClinton and this is your What's Happening. On March 10th, the Southern University Agriculture Department came and walked FFA members through the process of chicken harvesting. The purpose of this was to teach them how chicken products are raised, harvested, humanely slaughtered, and brought to your dinner tables. Many students gained a new appreciation for the meat they buy in the store, and they now know the hard work that goes into raising and processing the food they eat. On March 11th, the ZHS Blue and Red mock trial teams competed at the regional mock trial competition at the 19th Judicial District Court. The red team included Lucille Yost, Thomas and Emzat, Christian Maddie, Cameron Bethley, Annie Mayes, Haley Gleason, and Jordan Sutton. The blue team included Henry Hanks, Morgan Veal, Alexia Bentley, Nicole Perry, Taylor Villarreal, Whitney LeBlanc, and Gabriela Gonzalez. Regional finals, where they competed against one another. Although it was close, the blue team came out on top and was named regional champions. Nicole Perry was named Best Attorney, and Whitney LeBlanc was named Best Witness. Both teams also advanced to the state competition held virtually on March 26th. The drama department made an excellent showing at the Bonnie Borden District Festival at Southeastern University. Caroline Creasy took first place in poetry, Joseph Field took first place in dramatic interpretation, Kennedy Hughes took first place in original oratory. WZHS and Yearbook attended and competed in the Louisiana Publications Spring Conference at LSU. Our media team won Best Social Media Presence, while WZHS took home first place in Hype Video, Sportscast, and News Feature. In addition, WZHS received the 2021-2022 Best Overall Broadcast Award. Students and faculty filled the gym for our first indoor pep rally of the school year to celebrate the varsity boys basketball team advancing to the LHSAA 5A State Championship game in Lake Charles. There were performances by the band, cheerleaders, and bells, along with a teacher community member versus students basketball knockout game. The students won. Coach McClinton, his staff, and the team hyped the crowd and encouraged their support. The next day, the team won and was named the 5A State Champions for the second year in a row. In addition, J.B. Bolden was named Most Valuable Player. On March 12th, 60 students participated in the Literary District Rally at Southeastern Louisiana University. As a result, 9 students advanced to the state rally, which will be held on April 9th. Those students were Aiden Moon, Paige Killian, Ren Hoffpair, Caroline Creasy, Evelyn Vargas, Evelyn DeRoche, Madeline Smith, Chloe DeLee, and Kelvin Wrigley. Aiden and Madeline both received the Southeastern Scholarship. The Quiz Bowl team competed and won the Louisiana State History Bowl and beat. Bergen Dove and Claire Venable placed first and second in the varsity beat. On March 19th, the team finished 5-3 at the LQBA Louisiana State Championship Tournament. Bergen Dove was the third highest individual score out of 70 competitors. The team will now be able to compete in the Nationals Tournament in Washington, D.C. in April of this year. The Jazz Ensemble competed at the Loyola Jazz Festival and received superior ratings. In addition, they brought home the Sweepstakes Award 10 consecutive times. On March 15th, the concert band performed at the Southern University Band Festival and earned superior sweepstakes ratings. On March 16th, Victor Costa and Kennedy Hughes were honored at White Oak Plantation for both winning the Demco Youth Tour essay. Both students received an all-expense paid trip to Washington, D.C. in June. On March 17th, students dressed in green for St. Patrick's Day. To avoid being pinched, students were allowed to wear a green top and bottom. Students had a blast getting creative. On March 18th, the choir competed at the LMEA Large Ensemble Festival and swept the boards by earning superior ratings in sight singing and stage performance. In addition, they took home the sweepstakes trophy in what was the highest award that a choir could earn. On March 19th, Nia Butler, Andrea Condell, William Puckett, and Courtney Anderson competed in the Next Narrative Monologue contest at SMU. Courtney placed third and received a $200 reward. FFA members hosted their annual farm-to-school field trip for Zelk students. Members taught the pre-K students about caring for animals, preparing food straight from their garden, and how agriculture is a part of their daily life. In addition, Zelk students enjoyed being taste testers. With under 60 days left until graduation, seniors were able to pick up their graduation cap and gown in the main gym lobby. If you were not able to pick yours up, please see Ms. Walters in the counseling office. I'm Ms. McClinton, and that's your What's Happening.
A lot has been going on around the world.
Like the metaverse, which is a network of 3D virtual worlds focused on social connection.
Let's take a look.
What's up, ZHS? I'm Mads Mathis. As you all know, on Globaltrot, we travel across the world and cover news from areas big and wide. This week, we won't be discussing news from any of the 7 continents. In fact, we aren't even looking at the news from the world. Now, we are traveling above our world and into Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse. I am sitting down with LSU's public relations instructor and internship coordinator, Sadie Wilkes, to question the legitimacy of a world like Ernest Cline's Ready Player One. So to start off, Ms. Wilkes, I'm going to ask, what is the metaverse?
So the metaverse is the latest iteration of kind of what was called previously cyberspace. Basically, it's a 3-dimensional version of the internet.
This is more my style. We believe the metaverse will be the successor to the mobile internet. And you're gonna be able to do almost anything you can imagine. All right, perfect.
Do you know what the reason behind that was? Why does the world want a digital world?
Well, I think what we just went through with COVID is kind of a really good example of why people are even looking at this. I think we kind of fast-tracked ourselves into this virtual space where it's been talked about, and there's games and stuff that people do in this space. So like I said, it's not really new, but the idea here is this pandemic has shown that people really do value that the most personal one-on-one communication.
Like with all new technology, there is always a debate on how it will affect our current world. Like with the invention of AI, we see robots taking over the world in video games. And with all virtual worlds, we watch characters fight their way back to reality. Well, I suppose this leads me into my next question. It's more of a debate of morale or, just new technology in general. Is the metaverse a good or bad thing?
I think like most new technologies, it is neither. It is what we make of it. So there's going to be a lot of great qualities about it and things that make things very interesting and enriching and great experiences, as well as there's some complications and problematic issues. So I was talking to a group of professionals yesterday, actually, about the good and bad of this type of technology and communication tools. So the really good thing is that it allows you to experience, right? So as communication professionals, professional storytellers, these tools give us an opportunity to not only share people's stories, but you can experience other people's stories, right? And there are some examples of people using it to say a day in the life or walk in the shoes of someone with Alzheimer's, so that Alzheimer's caregivers can understand, what their loved ones are going through, so they can empathize and really have an understanding of how their lives are being affected day to day. So that's an experience that you can only get that way, right? There's no other way. Like, you can read a story, you can see someone and hear it in their words, but to kind of see it from their perspective, in their shoes, is a totally different experience.
Imagine standing on the streets, hearing the sounds, visiting the markets, to get a sense of the rhythm of life over 2,000 years ago. Imagine...
You just mentioned a bunch of things that are, not limiting. Like, it sounds like a very variety of things that we can do in the metaverse, something that will provide a lot of experiences, but what are some limitations?
So one of the limitations that's been talked about is kind of the physical reaction that we have. There have been some research studies that show that women have more, it's called cyber sickness. It's essentially motion sickness in the cyber space. And so one of the things they've noticed is that it affects women more than men, which may not be inherently that virtual reality is affects women this way. What they found in some of the further studies is that it depends on how the equipment, like the virtual reality equipment, you need the Oculus or some other software to interact, right, with the three-dimensional internet. And so, unlike a mouse or a keyboard, which is pretty standard, the virtual reality goggles, depending on how close your eyes are set, you might react a little bit differently.
As technology and aspects of the metaverse develop, it is hard to say where we will be in a few years. Like, will our goggles be part of our daily outfits, or will we be eating Thanksgiving dinner in a 3D chat room? I guess it is safe to say that the metaverse is still a subject of development. But for now, this is Mads Mathis signing off.
It's Women's History Month. It's time to celebrate women's history, culture, and society.
Let's take a look.
Moms, definitely.
Yeah. So my grandmother, Vivian Ayers, she owned a museum, or had a museum rather, and it was a black arts museum. And she encouraged me to be an artist every day. In fact, she said, "We are artists. Period. That's what we do."
That is what we do. I guess I'll go first. I'll say my mom is the most influential woman in my life just because she taught me pretty much everything I know. How to be strong, how to be independent. And she's the person I can go to when I'm in dire need. And she's just such a good role model in how she takes care of our family, and she's just great.
It's definitely my mom, although I do not have my mom still, but just the values and watching that even through a lot of health issues, she was still the strongest woman that I have ever encountered. She never let anything get her down, and that was an obstacle for her, but she showed us how to overcome.
Me, it is definitely my mom, who also is not with me anymore, but in addition to my mom, it's both my grandmothers. My grandmothers were both born in the early 1900s, and so my grandmother, who was from Shreveport, my dad's mom, got divorced in 1935, which was very taboo, and so she had to go to work and was a single mom, and so that took a lot of strength and built a lot of character for her, as well as my father, and she became the first female bank teller in Shreveport. And then my grandmother on my mother's side also had to go to work, but for a different reason, because my grandfather got sick and died when my mother was younger, so she too became a single mom, but more of a widow, and so she became the first female head RN in Thomas Hospital, Fairhope, Alabama. So both of those grandmothers were definitely trailblazers for women that had to work and raise families on their own. So.
Well, I'm a single parent, and so that makes everything harder. I was going to school at Southeastern and working full time and being a mom for the longest time, and it took me 8 years to get my 4-year degree. Although some of that was because I switched majors like 100 times, but
ditto.
Yeah. But I mean, being a single mom was definitely what has not necessarily stopped me, but slowed my educational growth.
I think Ms. Watson and I were talking earlier. So I'll say for me, it's just being misunderstood or interpreted, especially being a Black woman, when there is an issue that arises and I am passionate about that issue, just being misinterpreted as the stereotype of the angry Black woman. And it's like, I'm not angry, I'm just passionate about this subject, and I feel strongly about it, and just don't judge me for that, and just understand that I am just being true to myself and what I believe in, and it has nothing to do with me being angry or being an angry Black woman. So,
as women, we probably have more adversity from women bosses that we might have. Just being able to say, hey, we can both be on this totem pole together, and we don't think that because it's such a small window for women that we think that we'll push each other out if we get too many men.
Me, I actually started out in chemical engineering, and I co-opted at SEVA, Specialty Chemicals in McIntosh, Alabama, and I struggled because there was a plant, part of the plant that I wanted to work in, but at the time in the 90s, the supervisor of that section of the plant refused to let women work out there just because, and that was evidently kind of an acceptable thing. And I know a lot of times in some of these fields, when you go into a male-dominated field, it's very hard for women just to even get considered for a position, and sometimes, even though they might not say it directly, you might get passed over for a promotion or a job because they're afraid you're going to get married or have a baby and have to take time off, when men don't normally have to take any time off, at least in the US, so they'll be passed over for a job and you don't really understand why, and it was all because of your gender.
I found in art school, every single art school that I went to, that guys were always able to get the work pushed out, where we were constantly left. I was married to an artist at one point in time, and he was allowed to create freely, and everything he did was just glorious and worthy. And here I am pushing the little baby cart. Oh, you're such, oh, look how cute the baby is. They don't even look at you, you know. Say, oh, the baby's so cute, when actually you are the creator.
Definitely had a lot of pushback while welding. I got called, hey dude, and no, you don't need to help with that, ma'am.
Yeah.
It was dumb. Like, I can weld just like everybody else can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal yours.
No!
And say creator.
Oh. Thief.
Creator.
Thief. I agree. We are creatives.
Yeah.
Chameleon. We can fit in anywhere, adjust at any moment, on the spot, drop of a dime. We fit in. We have to adjust. We have to, what is it? We have to shift.
Yeah.
Shapeshifters.
We can change constantly and forever and
survive.
Be one thing and then another and then another and then another.
Survive. Survivors.
Ooh, survivors. Women are chameleons, survivors, creators. We're everything. We're the best.
Yeah, definitely strength. I would say a woman is basically the pillar of the family. She is the backbone of, I say, the world. Without women, we wouldn't have.
I think James Brown said it well when he said it's a man's world, but it would be nothing without a woman.
That's right.
That's perfect. And on that note, I will tell you, okay, that if you read a book called the Bible, you can look and see that God created Adam first, right? But what happened? Adam couldn't handle this world on his own, and so what did God have to do? He had to improve and make a new version, and so he made woman. So technically, woman is like the improved version of man. Absolutely. And was made just basically to help Adam figure out the world and do all the work for him because he couldn't handle it. So
help him out.
Yes. Here we are. We'll have the babies.
Ketanji's incandescent brilliance was obvious to all of us from day one. But even more importantly, she has always been one of the kindest, warmest, most humble, and down-to-earth people I have ever met.
That man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman?
That's all for this week's Zachary High.
Stay updated for new upcoming events.
And make sure you check out our social media. Well, this is Safari Beard.
I'm Jemima Montgomery.
Signing off.